You will not win. Do you understand me? You will not win, you scum. I will eat you.
I'll eat my neighbors.
This is more your podcast because you feel like there is a necessity to do some semantic clarification here.
Yeah, because I think that when we don't have the semantic clarification down, it strengthens the arguments of people who are opposed to us.
Okay, what if you think they're lying about how they feel just to emotionally manipulate the third party that is watching in order to gain more people to their side? And many of these semantic arguments are actually obviously not that way, such as accusing an elderly man who makes an example of muskets and trowels as somehow an attack upon the most vulnerable against us.
I think 100% the people who are twisting words like that are the anti-Mormons, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is your show, brother. Take it away.
Okay.
It's your world. We're just living in it right now. And we're all going to come together, sing Kumbaya, and Brad is going to heal us collectively.
Yeah, we're going to solve some problems here today, guys. Welcome to Midnight Mormons. We're going to be talking about the difference between ex-Mormons and anti-Mormons. So, let's start it off. Let's hear what you guys have to say. What's the difference?
Ex-Mormon and anti-Mormon?
Yeah.
What's the difference between road rubble and pond scum?
Oh my gosh.
Dang, it's a joke. Gosh, come on, guys. We're gonna look. At this point, I've figured out my character on the show. I just play like
Aleks Jones,
yeah,
Mormon Aleks Jones.
I don't care what I say. I'm not really like this in person, but you gotta lean into the meme. You know what I mean? Lean into the meme.
Yeah. So look, here's the deal. I did notice some comments on our video when we posted. For any of you that are just tuning in right now, what we're making reference to here is the fact that we just recently released on our channel. If you're not a member of the channel, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. But we made a video talking about the cruelty of anti-Mormon ex-Mormonism, right? And got a little bit of flack there about some of the semantics about, what you call ex-Mormon, what you call anti-Mormon, so on and so forth. So Brad Witbeck, in his infinite magnanimous mercy, has wanted to clarify some of our positions on this. And actually, the much more sensitive side of me says, fine, let's do the clarification. I'm always down with clarifications. I think a lot of people accusing us of some kind of grand brush painting and evil are being just disingenuous for internet clout.
Oh, for sure.
But
100%.
Yeah, go for it. Dive right in.
Okay.
And clarify this semantic argument.
Okay. So I think that an important thing that we need to watch ourselves for as we're going forward with this podcast is to be a little bit more careful in the way that we talk about ex-Mormons versus anti-Mormons, because not every ex-Mormon is an anti-Mormon. And I think if we treat it that way, then it makes the anti-Mormon position seem like it has more supporters, when I don't think it does. So, for instance,
so where did we go wrong? And start with saying specifically where Kwaku went wrong.
I don't even think that we've necessarily done anything very wrong. One of the things that comes to mind is like how personally people took it when we talked about Jeremy Runnels and his herd of ex-Mormon subreddit minions, right? The flying monkeys on ex-Mormon subreddit. I think we were being pretty specific there. We were talking about the people who were bringing the helping crowdsource the CES letter arguments.
Yeah, like leaving us weird death threats on our Facebook messages.
Yeah, and when we're saying that, that's what we mean. But I think there are sometimes people who hear that and they're like, oh, I followed ex-Mormon subreddit, they must hate me, right? And I think it's an easy thing for people to take personally. So I think that we can be more careful about it, right? And like be more specific about what is actually anti-Mormon. Because we on this show don't think every single person who is an ex-Mormon is an anti-Mormon. I don't think we do.
Yeah.
We don't think that. And so when people are able to characterize us that way, I think that they try to do that in order to weaken our position and make it look like anybody who left the church obviously hates it and thinks it's a cult. When really, that's like a subset of really vocal people, right?
Okay, that's fair enough. Now, I will say this, though, like, to a certain extent, this is why, okay, first things first, I validate what you say, Brad Witbeck, okay? I validate the need, rhetoric matters, semantics matter, all of this stuff, okay? for that small minority of people who actually, I think, are operating from a position of intellectual honesty.
Yep.
Okay. I have been amazed, and I come from the world of political discourse and radio. You know what I'm saying? I've been where I didn't think it could get more cynical or more disingenuous until I found armchair apologetics and comedy, and I found the single most cynical and most disingenuous and most intellectually dishonest hive mind I've ever seen in my life. Okay, and so. I would say part of the reason why I think that oftentimes these people are disingenuous is because, okay, at first when the video came out, full disclosure, it was called the cruelty of ex-Mormonism. And the thumbnail, I think, because thumbnails are really what matters in cyberspace, mostly when it comes to this kind of thing, I thought was pretty dang obvious that we were talking about Corbin Valouz and Bill Reel, especially in regards to the podcast that they had with one Kwaku L. Okay. And so to me, that's kind of obvious. After a couple of comments, I said, okay, cool. I'm going to clarify. And if you actually go back and you look in the notes of that actual podcast, it says right here, in addition, we're painfully aware that the changing landscape of anti-Mormonism is constantly changing and that, quote, the son shall not be guilty of the sins of the father and semantics matter. We assume the subject matter of ex-Mormon, anti-Mormon influencer leadership was obvious visually in the thumbnail by including specific influencers, i.e. Bill Reel and Corbin Valouz. However, some viewers express concern that not all ex-Mormons are combative and anti-Mormon. Out of respect for this subset of people and in lack of a nickname or proper colloquialism for ex-Mormon anti-Mormons, which is kind of like the anti-Nephi Lehites. It's a freaking mouthful. Like you can't just say like the anti-Nephi Lehites. We need to figure out something for that. Yeah. So we can't just walk around saying the ex-Mormon, anti-Mormon, middle-aged podcasters of disingenuous thought patterns. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to find some kind of better colloquialism. So anyway.
I would just say anti-Mormons. Right?
Okay.
Like that's what I would say because because like anti people, like they're very, very clearly they're against the church, right? Like Bill Reel posts stuff that is 100% like, we're going to show you that the church is false. I don't think you can like say that that's not an anti-church guy.
So now
right?
This is where I think it is worth diving into what the colloquialism means.
Yeah.
Okay. Because growing up, anti-Mormons were generally other believers in Christianity or Catholicism or whatever.
Yeah.
That were making arguments from a believing biblical standpoint.
Oh, so like Sandra Tanner sort of stuff.
Yeah, in order to say you are wrong and you are in heresy.
Uh-huh.
So coming from a position of belief and then interpretation of scripture has been the traditional stronghold of anti-Mormons, right? Mm-hmm. However, this new toxic breed that's not advocating for a new belief system, ironically, they have an insane amount of dogma, things that you must do to be in their religion of non-religiosity. You know what I'm saying? But ex-Mormonism, I had at least adopted and understood from my relatively new foray into this armchair apologetics thing. Don't forget, I mean, you guys have been attacking this for years. I've only been at this for 18 months now. And half of that's been during COVID. I found that most of the ex-Mormons would pridefully say ex-Mormon and marketed themselves that way as an assumed assumption colloquially that meant we're arguing for the atheistic dropout of Mormonism perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, based upon how they self-identified, I thought that was the appropriate terminology that they wanted to be addressed with. Now,
and here is the thing. Okay. They absolutely want that. They want us to refer to them as ex-Mormons so that anyone who leaves Mormonism says, oh yeah, they're ex-Mormons, so I should join them, right? They're an authority for me. They shouldn't be. I don't think that we should ever have people who are ex-Mormon, who are like on their way out of the church, listen to us and hear things that they're like, oh, ex-Mormons believe this. Well, I mean, if I'm leaving the church, maybe I should believe that, right? Like, I hope no one's that wishy-washy in their thinking, but like, I don't want to drive anyone towards the anti-Mormons.
I think if you're that weak, where we treat these people like they're fragile eggshells, like they just can't take truth. If they're spending time on hostile internet caverns like ex-Mormon Reddit. If they're on there, listen to people that say they should be ashamed of the way they were raised, ashamed of their parents' faith, ashamed of their ancestors. They should be ashamed of their worldview and their people. They're tough enough to watch our show. I'm sorry. And then when they pretend, like Bill Reel when he did the interview with me, was just like, don't you just make a place for the people who just have serious pain and hurt? Yeah, I do, but not for you. There's a difference, okay?
So here's the thing, Kwaku. I think that we
save us, Brad, sensitive Brad, quick back.
No, I think there are just people, like, there are people who are ending up watching our show who aren't, like, heavily active users of ex-Mormon subreddit. I think they, like, randomly ended up looking on Reddit, found ex-Mormon, ex-Mormon. They're like,
smart enough to know we're not talking about them.
I don't know. I think they get emotional with it, right? Like, I think people hear ex-Mormon and they hear us talk about ex-Mormons and then they're like, oh shoot, they're talking about me, when really we're not. We're talking about anti-Mormons.
I only say antis though. I don't think I very
I think you say antis more often, yeah. And
well, here's my, like, I'm gonna get a ton of hate for this maybe, but like, I was really amazed at how angry Twitter, how angry anti-Mormon, ex-Mormon Twitter, because I guess we haven't found the colloquialism yet. I was amazed at how angry they got about the phrase lazy learner. Okay.
Because it's true.
You know, well, you know, they got so angry about it, but then I'm like, here I am trying to bend over backwards to make sure that we delineate that, hey, it's about these specific influencers or that brand of influencer. I shouldn't say about these specific ones, but that brand of influencer. And just to make sure, since I can't edit the video once it's posted or the thumbnail, you know what I'm saying? Well, actually, you technically could edit the thumbnail, but the thumbnail doesn't contain text.
Yeah.
So just in order to actually, well, technically it does contain text. I know people are going to clip this and say, he doesn't do it right, you know, but basically it's not the main medium through which you communicate most of your information. It's a marketing tool for the video. So here we go, bend it over backwards in the final actual, what's this called? Description of the video. Like literally saying, okay, we understand that there are important lines to be cut here. You know what I'm saying? Write an entire paragraph giving specifics. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason people didn't see it and think that we weren't trying to argue those specifics is because they didn't read the description of the video.
Oh, are you saying that they might be lazy?
and so well, it's just kind of like,
well, here's the deal.
If
they
I'm
might
gonna-
not know to look there. So I think an episode like this will do a lot of good,
Okay,
right?
okay.
Like that's my thesis on this. Because look at it this way, okay? Pretend the church is a restaurant. If the church is like, say, Panda Express, and then you have people deciding they don't like Chinese food and they just start going to a burger joint, that's fine, right? That's your ex-Mormon, right? But when you have people petitioning outside of Panda Express, you have to change your menu and put burgers on the menu. Otherwise, you're causing violent, like, that's an anti-Mormon.
violence to pandas.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that is an anti-Mormon, right?
Yeah.
So I think there are a lot of ex-Mormons who just, like, move on and leave things behind, and I'm fine with that.
That's inactives.
Yeah.
Not like if you just
I think there are even people who like leave.
They're called I was raised.
the I was raised. Yeah.
Every time someone refers to themselves as ex-Mormon, I have found that they are anti-Mormon. Whenever they're an I was raised, I was raised Mormon. It means they're not active.
Interesting.
They
So,
don't
see,
really
that's
believe,
you just
but
put
they're
words.
not anti.
Yeah, so you literally just put words in my mouth. I feel like what we're missing right now isn't sensitivity. I feel like what we're missing is
a definition.
Is a definition, a colloquialism, because I am right in between Kwaku and Brad on this when it comes to where we need to be sensitive. I'm more sensitive to this than Kwaku is, who just thinks, you know, buck up, dude. So, and that's fine because there's a time and place for people with that attitude, right? But then also here's Brad Witbeck, who would literally let these people walk all over him on their way to protest the church outside, which might be more Christ-like than all of us. You know, there's probably a
I
good
believe in
chance
a
of
third Nephi Jesus.
So-
No, I don't think Jesus wanted people to be walked all over.
but see, I'm stuck in the middle because I'm like, well, these people self-identify as ex-Mormon and all of them want to tear down the church. And they openly state that that's their goal, except for when they're trying to hide it through search engine optimized titles. And, you know, oh my gosh, man, that was like embarrassing, like Steve Martin. But titles like Radio Free Mormon or else Mormonism Live, things that would, trick you into thinking that we're actually talking about believing content here.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm in between you and Kwaku in the sense that I think the vast majority are acting disingenuously, but there is that small shred that might be genuinely confused as to whether or not we're condemning an entire swath of people. So in order to rest that case and make sure they're assured that that's not what we're doing, I think we need to make a new colloquialism, because Kwaku is right. There is a difference between those that come out and say I'm ex-Mormon, because in my experience, ex-Mormonism is atheistic toxicity trying to get people out of the church by lampooning historical documents and misrepresenting our people's history. Meanwhile, there's as Kwaku calls them, the I was raised. And those people are not combative. They're you do you. They smoke a lot of weed. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, maybe. But actually, that is a really, really good point, Kwaku, because I've met a bunch of people who I think fit into that I was raised category. And they're kind of the people who I'm thinking about here.
They're also the kind of people you like hanging out with. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, here's an example. Oh boy, I'm about to ruffle some feathers.
Oh boy.
Oh gosh, let me
here's an
write
example
down.
of an ex-Mormon musician, Mindy Gledhill, talks about all the time, to the point where her fan base gets a little annoyed. And then you have the I was raised Brendan Urie, Panic at the Disco. He's singing High Hopes. He's having a good time.
Yeah.
Everybody loves him. Members of the church and former members, everybody loves the music.
Yeah.
What's the difference between those two? One is on Twitter, telling jokes. The other is, yeah, I'm traveling with people making millions of dollars. I got models and hot chicks, and my life is awesome. I chimed in with a haven't you? Like, yeah, I love that song. That was awesome in middle school, man.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Everyone loves the I was raised. No one likes the X's. When you start calling yourself an X something, you're making your personality like a negative of your former self. That's why I don't ever meet ex-Mormons who are not anti-Mormons, but I meet a ton of I was raised who are just fun people who want to have a good time on a Saturday
So
night.
what is the new colloquialism though? Because
For the I was raised.
Yeah, for the I was raised.
We're gonna make it like quicker and nicer to say.
Or maybe even if they weren't raised, like it's possible to have converted to Mormonism and then just decided that it wasn't for you or something. But there needs to be.
I've seen one going around that's like post-Mormons, but you have
That's horrible.
people who are like
no, I'm sorry,
anti-Mormons.
I will never ever let those people. I will never use. Their
Who are the
language.
people saying
They're
it?
acting like they're veterans. They're acting like they've been through the
Oh,
damn
really?
trenches, like in the post World War I. No, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
like PTSD.
No, I'm sorry. You were in primary with an old piano in Sister Jensen's. Like, all right, we have been born as defiable, and they're like, it was the worst thing ever. Oh, shut up. No, you're not a post-Mormon. As if these people literally are the guys who tweet that like BYU is oppressing me. You're being oppressed.
Okay.
You're being oppressed.
Yeah, by having a church
having-
pay 77% of your tuition.
Yeah.
Oh.
And for a killer
You're
education.
being oppressed in the Harold B. Lee Library after you got the cup bop. You know what I'm saying? Right off of the science building. No, you are not oppressed. These people, they're adopting the Foucault style.
Yeah.
Where everything is
Oh my
materialistic
gosh, yeah.
and everything is violence, and it is absolute BS. And this is why.
Oh, postmoderns. Okay,
Yeah,
that's why
what
they're
it
using
is.
post-Mormon.
No,
Okay.
they're post-Mormon because they want to make it seem like oh, I'm living a life post-Mormonism. It was so difficult, but this is me. No. That's not what it is. They are deliberately, the language that they use is specific and trying to make us look bad, and Mormons are too nice and wimpy, and we just go, oh, we'll call you what you'd like to be called. No, I will not concede.
I guess I just need to be a little less nice. Because that's another thing that I think I err on the side of sometimes, is I err on the side of niceness when I should be kind, right? There's a difference between those two things. And so that's
I don't do
a
either.
good note for me.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't do it.
You know what?
Well,
okay, if you want me to call you a post-Mormon, I will call you this. A traitor. No. That's a bit much.
Dude, you just totally made me. I was about to take a drink and then I started laughing. Almost, that was funny. So then I guess I'll just circle back to this whole question here. Well, what is the semantics then, though? Because to an outsider, there's ex-wife, ex-husband.
Here's the thing. We could just leave it for the comments. and see what they have to say.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to suggest one thing to see, do a poll whether or not they like that. I was raised. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, let's do that. Let's leave this open to the comments. Okay. We recognize and feel, at least here at Midnight Mormons, that there is a semantic market open for a new title, and that these titles are important because, you know, language is how we communicate. And we want to communicate most effectively and as kindly as possible. Kindness is not niceness. So out of kindness, we, to those that may feel differently and want to be represented properly, okay, we ask, what do you think the correct titles are? And if you think that we have gone wrong in our interpretation of what anti-Mormon means, or ex-Mormon means, or I was raised means, or whatever, if you think that we've gone wrong in any of those interpretations thereof, please let us know in the comments. Got anything else left to say, Brad?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Kwaku, hit us.
You listen to me.
Oh boy, you
listen to me. You internet anti-Mormon people who want to destroy our people and our culture. You will not win. Do you understand me? You will not win, you scum. I will eat you.
I'll eat my neighbors. I'll eat your.
And there's the Aleks Jones, very directly.
I don't even know if the YouTube algorithms will let me keep that in, Kwaku.
I'll do it.
Like, I don't even know.
I'm joking, but I'm also being serious. I understand that there are those with power in the internet world.
My superpower is being honest.
Who hate us and do not want our church to exist. And we have to understand this is a very growing threat. And they're using dog whistles and propaganda,
like post-Mormons,
to encourage actual literal violence. By the way, and this is the other thing. We have to do 10 podcasts when some stupid BYU student decides to use a homophobic slur. You know what I'm saying? And we got to go, we condemn. But whenever everybody in your community who is literally a part of your Facebook groups and literally a part of your Reddit threads and literally a part of your meetings at your Sunstone and all that stuff, when you guys start doing horrific stuff, clapping on the people lighting chapels on fire, you never have to come against anything. You always hold us to be accountable when you guys are deliberately not trying to be accountable. So I think it's bullcrap. We're not putting up with your games, and we're starting a revolution here on Midnight Mormons. We are not the boomers. We are fighting back, and I guarantee you this: we will win. Do you understand me? We will win because we're in shape, and you're not.
Oh no!
Well, we shouldn't switch to me on that one.
No,
but
maybe you're 9 feet tall Polish man. You can fight.
You got everyone beat.
Oh no, I'm not worried
just
about
by
winning.
height.
No, I'm not worried about winning. I'm just, that whole winning because we're in shape thing.
Oh, dude, you have cancer. Like,
still not worried.
You have a valid excuse to be.
Okay, all right. Post-production on this one is going to be a doozy. Yeah.
I say leave it all in.
Yeah, but don't know if YouTube will take it. But
I will eat you.
well, yeah. The I will eat you. Kronos comes to mind, but I don't know. This was Midnight Mormons. See you guys in the next podcast.
I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors.